Because according to the speaker in that meeting, moot and academic na daw yung PI kung pag-usapan daw natin dito sa Senado itong economic provisions. Bakit nagkakaganyan? May bayaran. And he even said na, and I thank the President for this, because he even said na, dati ako senador. Bilang dating senador, hindi din ako papayag na ma-undermine o ma-diminish ang kapangyarihan ng Senado sa pagdating ng usaping bicameralism or bicameral form of government. So maganda po ang direksyon ng Pangulo. And ang sabi niya sa akin at kay Speaker, sabi niya, why doesn't the Senate take the lead in the discussions of the economic provisions and then you approve your version which the House can adopt? So that was the position of the President. Para hindi na tayo maglalagay pa kung ano-ano pang mga amendments na sa tingin natin ay magagalit ang taong bayan.
Good day everyone. Rosa here of Splat Communications. We shall present to you today the latest relevant and accurate information regarding the proposed amendments to the Constitution.
Hindi po peking balita na galing sa mga fake news pulburon destabilizers na nagpapakalat ng maling impormasyon. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. tinuldukan na ang People's Initiative. Gaya ng mga maling ipinapakalat na kaya isinusulong ang pag-aamyenda sa ating konstitusyon dahil lamang sa gustong palawigin ang termino ng mga kasalukuyang nakaupo sa pamahalaan, ang hakbangin para sa pagbabago ng ilang probisyon ng ating saligang batas ay nakaangkla lamang sa pagsasaayos ng mga probisyon na layong mas makakatulong sa mas mabilis na pagpasok dito sa Pilipinas ng mga dayuhang mamumuhunan upang sa lalong pagpapasigla at pagpapalakas ng ating ekonomiya. Panoorin po natin ang pahayag ni Senate President Juan Miguel Zubiri.
He was concerned. He was concerned. On the first meeting we had, concerned si Pangulo kung saan patungo ito. Concerned siya. But I can't give the details kasi it was privileged information. Nandun kami sa bahay niya. So, sabi niya para maayos na natin itong gusot na ito. In fairness to the President, he's trying to find ways na hindi madagdagan ang gusot ng pagtakbo ng ating pamahalaan para sa ating taong bayan. So, he was just trying to find ways na hindi magkakagulo. Imagine if everyday toxic masyado yung mga salita namin sa news, mga tao, of course, it will look like a divided nation. If every day in the news, nagsisigawan, nagmumurahan po tayo dyan. So, even investors would be afraid to come in. Nakipag-meeting po ako kay Presidente nung Tuesday. And I raised the alarm about the People's Initiative. He was very gracious enough to meet with me, and we discussed how we can diffuse the situation. In fairness to the President, hindi niya po alam yung People's Initiative language was to diminish the powers of the Senate. And after that, he asked me to meet with the Speaker. We met with the Speaker. I met with him on Tuesday evening, after which we had lively and vigorous debate on the issue, and we all decided to meet with the President once again at 3 p.m. in Malacanang last Thursday. In that meeting, we were there early, so we met together with Senator Lauren Legarda, kasama po namin si Congressman Sandro Marcos, Sap Anton Lagdameo, and the Speaker and myself. In that meeting, we discussed the scenarios. And of course, I defended the position of the Senate na talagang malabo yan kasi as far as we're concerned, their plan is unconstitutional because we are a bicameral system of government. Kaya, nung pagkita po natin kay Presidente, we decided, the President, first of all, and I'd like to thank the President for his comment that the PI is too divisive, and even mentioned news items from the major networks that he watched the night before. At sabi, nagkakagulo na, bakit nagkakaganyan? May bayaran. And he even said na, and I thank the President for this, because he even said na, dati ako senador. Bilang dating senador, hindi din ako papayag na ma-undermine o ma-diminish ang kapangyarihan ng Senado sa pagdating ng usaping bicameralism or bicameral form of government. So maganda po ang direksyon ng Pangulo. And ang sabi niya sa akin at kay Speaker, sabi niya, why doesn't the Senate take the lead in the discussions of the economic provisions and then you approve your version which the House can adopt? So that was the position of the President. Para hindi na tayo maglalagay pa kung ano-ano pang mga amendments na sa tingin natin ay magagalit ng taong bayan. So, that was quite clear in the meeting, and that's why in the Van de Honor, medyo smiling na po kami ng Speaker of the House at ang Presidente ng Senado, because we were able to resolve that very big issue. That night, nag-meeting po kami with the senators. We had about 14 senators that met that night, and we discussed the possibilities. Nakuha ko naman po yung full support ng majority members of the Senate. We were also there. We also had a member of the minority there, Senator Rizzo Ontiveros. And of course, we said to her that we know their position, we will respect their position, but I'm being transparent. As the Senate President, I want to be transparent that these discussions will be taking place once the Senate resumes on January 22. We were able to get consensus from everyone, including the President. Resolution that we will file today, nakapirma na kaming tatlo. If you see the resolution that we filed today, it's limited to yung amendments to public services, as well as education, and as well as advertising. We got the guide from the President. I hope that the President will not be upset if I share this information. Pero si President mismo, ayaw niya ng lupa na ibigay sa foreign. Siya mismo nagsabi, malabo yun. He said that, and I quote the President, this will give us problems in our housing program. It will increase tax rates and it will increase prices of land in the Philippines. And even cited some countries kung saan na may foreign ownership na yung mga mismong locals ay hindi na po nakaka-afford ng lupa doon at lumalabas na. Kaya na nga nagkakaroon ng Asian hate dahil may mga areas like Vancouver, Toronto, in Canada, wherein a lot of Chinese, Hong Kong nationals pumunta doon, binili lahat ng property. Yung mga Canadians na original na lumalabas na, hindi na. I was never adamant. Let's put this on the record. I've said it many times. There is a need to amend certain provisions of the Constitution. But I've said that possibly now is not the time because of the important matters at hand. But after meeting the economic teams and the business groups that they're saying that their biggest concern nga is dahil sa kaso sa Supreme Court na hindi pa natatapos with finality, natatakot pa rin sila pumasok dito. Bigyan ko kayo ng halimbawa. You're a company who wants to deal with telecommunications. Under the PSA, pwede na po yan 100% owned. Pumasok sila dito, bilhin nila yung PLDT, for example. Yung mga magagaling na kumpanya, let's say yung sa Japan, yung magandang company dyan, yung Docomo ba yan, o ganun, pasok sila dito. And they give us 100% service. Happy lahat ng tao. They spend billions of dollars. Tapos sabihin ng Supreme Court, unconstitutional. You have to just have only 40%. You have to sell 60%. Eh, sino ba naman hindi masisiraan ng ulo dyan? So, any businessman would not want to put up major infrastructure here and investments if that is the pending case, or there is a pending case in the Supreme Court. We were able to get consensus from everyone, including the President. We're limiting it to the scope of the Public Services Act. Education, because we feel, lahat po kami naniniwala, na bakit hindi makapasok ang Harvard dito, ang Yale, ang Stanford. Pwede naman sila mag-set up po ng eskwelahan dito. They do it in Singapore, they do it in other countries. So we should allow them para tumaas naman ang dekalidad ng ating edukasyon. And of course, we're limiting it to these three right now. And we thank the President for that because ang totoo dyan talaga magkakaroon ng constitutional crisis. Hindi po talaga papayag. Alam mo, lahat ng mga kasamahan ko, atat na umatake. At sabi ko sa kanila, pag lumaban tayo, there's a point of no return. Kasi kung magkakainitan ng dugo ang House and Senate, paano natin maipapasa yung mga batas natin? Kung ayaw mo makipag-usap sa congressman, how do we do the BICAMs, the bicameral conferences? How do we do our LEDAC? Pagkakagulo, masyado mainit. So, ang talo dyan ang taong bayan. So, I had to keep a cooler head and even if it was very difficult for me not to say anything about this issue, we wanted to find a win-win solution that would limit the impact in terms of a constitutional crisis with both houses of Congress. Priority by the Senate as far as we're concerned, only on economic provisions, napakaklaro yan, we will have public hearings, and in these public hearings, we will have debates, and as you said, kung meron man propose ng controversial dito sa Senado, term limits or removal of term limits or change of government, I'm sure the members of the committee, the subcommittee, or kung gusto ng ating mga kababayan, gawin natin na committee on the whole to be presided by myself and Senator Angara, we can put it on a vote. And obviously, 18 votes at each time. Sa committee level, para paglabas na committee report, that was voted upon by 3/4 of the members, yung final committee report, and then we'll put it in plenary and make a vote on again for 18 votes or for 3/4 vote. Well, I cannot predict what my colleagues would be saying, but I think the simpler the amendment, the easier to get 18 votes. Sayang naman, napakasayang kung 1.1 trillion nga ang pledges ng mga dayuhan na mag-set up ng mga businesses dito. Bakit naman natin sila atsapuera? Pupunta lamang yan sa Vietnam, pupunta lamang yan sa Thailand, sa iba't ibang bansa, kawawa naman ang Pilipinas. So, we listen to the pulse of the public and also the business sector para sa ganun ay makapasok talaga at magkaroon ng legacy and legacy projects and investments in the country. Iba kasi yung panahon noon, iba yung panahon na yun. I think when we passed the 1987 Constitution, it was not effective because at that time, all countries at that time were looking inward, di ba? Nationalistic ang tendency noon, noong 1980s. Ngayon po, globalized na yung economy natin. And by doing this, definitely erases all doubts na gusto po natin ng foreign investments na pumasok sa ating bansa. We limit it to economic, as what we promised the President, we limit it to economic provisions, and we'll be discussing on the economic provisions on this particular Senate resolution. Dito na lang kami boboto. Yan ang usapin namin sa Malacanang. We will be here, we will pass this, 18 votes dito, and we will submit it to the House.
Yung
And then
kagaya po,
if they, well, ang gusto ng ating Pangulo, i-adapt na lang po ng House of Representatives. Now, kung hindi po i-adapt ng House of Representatives, magkaka-impasse po tayo. During, this was also discussed in one of the committee hearings by, I think, Father Bernas and some other constitutionalists, that it can be done that way. So, we can meet here, pass the resolution, 3/4 vote. They can meet there, pass the resolution as well, 3/4 vote. Pero kung magkaiba, yan ang problema, hindi magkaka-impasse, hindi po mapapasa yung constitutional reform. But if they adopt the Senate version, then wala tayong problema. 3/4 vote of both houses. So we feel, we maintain that's the best way, that's the best mode, that is the path of least resistance in terms of debates and I'd say, heated debates and possible difficult scenarios that may happen if we meet together. So, pumapayag din si speaker niyan. So, walang problema. I believe makakuha tayo ng 3/4 vote. Yung mga kausap natin, yung 14, ay yung 13, plus yung mga kasama namin nung the day before, mga tumawag sa akin, parang makakuha po tayo ng 3/4 vote. Limited to only economic provisions, particularly these few that I had mentioned already. January 5 ko lang nalaman, I was in Cagayan de Oro, doing some work there, and nakuha ko yung litrato, pinadala sa all members page ni Senator Chis Escudero, yung litrato ng People's Initiative question.
Okay.
Doon ako nabulaga. As far as I'm concerned, I'd like to avoid a constitutional crisis between the House and the Senate because it will paralyze our legislation. It will just paralyze all legislation pending. Sayang naman. Sayang naman ang mga mahalagang panukala para sa ating taong bayan. But, if there's a compromise such as this and they decide to just back out because according to the speaker, it's moot and academic, then we welcome that as well. That would be a more peaceful, more productive, more proactive way of dealing with the economic provisions without having to, na hindi makakapon ng Senado at dahil sa pagkapon ng Senado, kung ano-ano pang pwedeng ilabas sa ganung klaseng initiative. So, I think this is the win-win solution that we're all looking for. We were happy, yung kalalabasan ng meeting na yan, happy po yung side ng Senado. The second meeting was initiated by the President. Sabi niya, magkita tayo Thursday. Yung first meeting ako, kasi I wanted to seek guidance. Ano ba ito? Ano ba itong PI na to? Oo, kasi definitely kung nilagay natin yung land ownership dyan, pati tayo dito sa Senado, wala tayong makukuhan. Siguro, iilan lang, papabor, baka dalawa lang, o baka wala. Wala pa akong nakakausap dito na pabor sila sa land ownership ng dayuhan. Kasi, alam mo naman sinong bibili lang nandyan eh. Kung hindi, yung ating mga kapitbahay na nang gustong manggulo dito. Tapos yan ang mangyayari dyan. Tapos, yung ating mga kababayan, nangyayari na nga yan na yun eh. Diba? Dahil sa mga pogo and all that na hindi na po ma-afford ng ating mga kababayan, mga condominiums dito sa... tanungin nyo lang mga Senate staffers natin dito. Hindi na sila maka-arkila ng apartment dito sa area na to, sa Pasay, dahil sobrang mahal. Pupunta na, talagang abot na sila ng Cavite. Because of course, it's being rented by foreigners. So, I would suggest talaga na we do not include that in the amendments to the Constitution. That would be very difficult for everyone.
So, ito.
Well, napakasimple lang naman ng amendments na to. I don't see any problem finishing it this quarter. Before the Holy Week break. I don't see any problem. Kasi tatatlo lang naman yung... Tapos napakasimple. It's not specific. It's specific, but we only put the amendment unless otherwise provided for by law. So gagawa pa kami ng batas. And people are expecting us to meet in one place. Why? Dahil magsisigaw, magsusuntukan kami. Hindi naman, pwede naman namin gawin yan dito. Pwede nila gawin yan doon. What's important there is the 3/4 vote. Voting separately. That is what's important because it's a bicameral form of government. Yan ang pinakamalaga dyan. Na boboto kami, 3/4. Boboto sila, 3/4. Pag hindi po kami naka 3/4, wala nang usapin ng charter change. Ganun lang yun. Hindi pa kasi dadaan pa ng, well, depende sa plebisito, magkaka-plebisito pa yan. So, we have to ask the COMELEC if they have funds for the plebiscite. Magpa-plebiscite pa yan, my dear. Anything that we discuss here and we vote on will still go to the people. So, we'll have a plebiscite kung sasang-ayon ba sila dyan. Public Services Act, nandyan na yung batas eh.
Opo, pero so yung sa education?
Yes, education, magpa-file pa tayo ng bill.
After, sir,
Babalik ulit tayo sa going back to the first step to filing a bill that will allow, let's say, foreign ownership for education in the country. Dadaan ulit sa ganyang klaseng proseso.
Ayan.
I believe Senator Amy Marcos has filed a resolution on this issue. She's leading the Committee on Electoral Reform. So we can await her committee hearing and let's await her findings. I would like to wait for the resolution of that filed measure of the good Senator from Ilocos Sur or Ilocos Norte, Senator Amy Marcos, and we'll wait for the outcome of that hearing before we can make a decision. First of all, alam mo naman, I personally am allied with the President, so I seek guidance on these particular divisive issues with him. He doesn't get involved with the dealings of the House and of the Senate. Never siya talagang nakikialam sa atin dito. What we're trying to avoid is a constitutional crisis. Naalala ko kasi membro ako ng Kongreso noong 2004, 2005, mainit ang usapin ng charter change noon, nung panahon ni Speaker Joe De Venecia and Senate President Frank Drilon. I clearly remembered that because of that fight, hindi nag-uusap yung dalawa. Hindi talaga nag-uusap ng dalawa. Nang iinsultuhan sila sa TV at dahil dyan, apektado yung legislation. I know because naipit yung aking local legislation. Walang nailabas na local bills ko at halos lahat walang nailabas na local bills. We don't want that to happen, guys, because that's going to be bad for the country and for the people. I'm trying to avoid that in my 23 years already political experience in governance. That's the last thing that you want to happen dahil ang kawawa dyan ang taong bayan.
Sir, Comelec Chair Garcia said that they will be needing at least 13 billion pesos po for the plebiscite doon sa ratification ng any provision of the Constitution. Do you think it is prudent for the government to spend such amount na in the end wala hong katiyakan na magkaroon ba ng ratification? And second, sabi po ng Comelec parang napaka-additional burden na po sa kanila considering they are preparing for the 2025 midterm elections. Thank you po.
Well, sa economic provisions lang ito, partner, I just want to limit it to the economic provisions. I think 12 or 13 billion for a plebiscite, pero makuha natin yung 1.1 trillion na pledges, parang cost-benefit niyan, mas mataas para sa atin. Di ba? Kung talagang papasok, kung maayos natin yung gusot dyan sa Supreme Court, particularly on the issue on Public Services Act with an amendment of the Constitution, at papasok yung 1.1 trillion pledges na binanggit ng DTI, highest in 56 years yung pledges na ito, ay sa tingin ko, makakabawi din tayo in terms of income for the country and of course, hindi tayo dehado. So, that's my position on that particular issue on the budget. So, pero yun nga, kung wala tayong budget, then we'll have to wait the preceding year for that. Di ba? We'll have to wait for the preceding year kung walang budget yung Comelec. So, what's important is we do our job. I believe that or pwede na isabay sa national elections. Di ba sa elections ng United States, meron silang rider questions? Do you agree on gay marriages? Yes or no? Do you agree in legalization of marijuana? Yes or no? Di ba are you open for legal abortion? Yes or no? Yan yung sa US eh. So habang binoboto nila yung kanilang congressman, kanilang senator, may rider question doon, yun na yun. So it's a possibility na pwedeng isabay sa national elections din ito. So para walang gastos. Hindi ko pa siya nakakausap, pero ang problema kasi sa aking kaibigan na si Senator Padilla, he's focused more on the political eh. Diba? He's focused more on the political. Pagkakaganon, magkakagulo talaga dito. Hindi tayo uunsad. With due respect to my dear colleague, Senator Padilla. Kasi kung change of government ka agad, wala na talagang pag-usapan dito. Magkakagulo na. So, I'm appealing to him, and I'll appeal to him that we'll allow a subcommittee on this purpose. If not, then we'll call for committee of the whole. Political kasi yun eh. Medyo political kasi yung gusto ng ating kaibigan ni Senator Robin. Hindi talaga, hindi ko alam ilang boto makuha nun sa political. Talagang at this point in time, there's no need to rush any political amendments. It's not paralyzing the country. What we discussed was sa subcommittee muna. Para mag-umpisa na yung hearings on this issue. Then we'll invite all sectors. We will also invite yung PIRMA. We'll also invite former constitutionalists, former members of the constitutional conventions and the constitutionalists. We'll invite all sectors. We'll invite the business sector para marinig din ninyo yung complaints ng business sector na hindi nga sila makakapasok ng investments hanggang hindi desisyonan ng Supreme Court itong issue ng PSA. So, yan po ang stumbling block na yun. It's a separate branch of government. Hindi naman natin sila maudyok na pag-usapan ninyo ang PSA agad-agad. So, I don't want naman to be presumptuous to tell any one of the members of the Supreme Court to hurry this issue up. So, we don't know. It can be between 1 year to 3 years from now. But at that time, nakabinbin lahat ng investments na ito. If we can move forward with these particular economic provisions, I think it would be the best for the country. So we'll see. Remember, guys, may karibal tayo dito sa Southeast Asia. Number 1 investment destination now is Vietnam. Even if we're all English speakers, wala na. Hindi na hadlang sa kanila na hindi masyadong magaling mag-English ang Vietnamese. Doon na sila pumupunta. So, yan ang actual situation on the ground. Ito kasi the complaints of some of the investors. The question first asked is, do we need to amend the Constitution? Right? So now, we feel in the Senate that after passing the Public Services Act, hindi na po kailangan amendahan yung ating provision when it comes to economic amendments. Unfortunately, may pending case sa Supreme Court, marami pong nag-file. So, ang nangyayari daw, maraming natatakot pumasok sa bansa dahil maski na meron na po tayong batas, wala pong TRO, but what if after 1 or 2 years, the Supreme Court declares it unconstitutional? And once the Supreme Court declares it unconstitutional, paano daw nila babalik sa 60-40 yung kanilang mga investments? So, may rason. No? May mga mabibigat din na rason. And that's why we are open with the leadership of the Senate. We had several meetings with the senators after. We are open to discussions on the amendment of the Constitution on these particular provisions. But we are going to do it separately, voting separately. And that is why we have prepared a resolution now signed by myself, Senator Lauren Legarda, and Senator Sani Angara on the economic provisions, amendments of the economic provisions of the Constitution. So with this, we had asked, the majority members had asked Senator Sani Angara to lead a subcommittee on the Committee on Constitutional Amendments to tackle this particular issue. We chose Senator Sani Angara kasi kailangan talaga natin dito ay abogado. So, with due respect, hindi ko pa nakakausap si Senator Robin Padilla. He's still abroad. But when he comes back, kakausapin po namin siya at magre-request po kami na kung pwede, para dito sa usapin na ito, we will ask a creation of a subcommittee for this purpose.
O ayan po, napakalinaw mga kababayan. Ang papalitan lang sa ating konstitusyon ay ang mga probisyon na nakakaapekto sa pagpasok ng mga dayuhang mamumuhunan at hindi kasama ang pagpapalit ng uri ng pamahalaan o kaya ay ang pagpapalawig ng termino ng mga kasalukuyang nakaupo sa ating pamahalaan. Sana po ay tigilan na ang pakikinig at panunood sa mga nagmamarunong-marunungan na mga influencers at fake news pulburon destabilizers na hindi naman nakakatulong sa pag-unlad ng bayan. Ugaliin pong sumubaybay sa aming mga updates. Please subscribe and follow sa ating mga social media accounts. Like and share na din po at comment. Sana po ay huwag mag-skip ng ads at malaki po ang maitutulong nito sa pagpapalawig natin ng tamang impormasyon para sa lahat. Maraming salamat po.